Welcome everyone to class number 5 of the Angel 101 course. We are doing this class after 7 years. It's not that we consciously try to postpone it. It's just that we were not able to manage time. We were not able to have any, like a green signal, something like that. So people are still having like last minute landings here in the class. They're still dropping me messages. Okay. I think this is one of the reasons why I said do not entries to be closed by 5:30. That hurried sense of energy, it might be okay for someone who's receiving, not okay for someone who's organizing everything. All right. So it is very important that okay, just a second. I could have so peacefully done it on FB Live, but that would be another thing. Anyway, okay, so let's carry on. So we are doing this after 7 years. We organize angel camps. I think we had 3 batches, if I'm not wrong, training people into angel healing modality. Then we realized that we have certain, not issues, but things to work on. I mean, we were not agreeing to some of the paths which Dr. Doreen Virtue was talking about. And for that reason, we were just not able to have that class in alignment, in accordance with her system. Anyway, as you're aware, Dr. Doreen Virtue has officially left the New Age, and it's fine. It's her pathway, bless her heart. But walking your own path and criticizing other pathways, that is not something of a very decent kind. So without saying any nasty about her, I'm still so grateful about her books and her teachings. The previous ones, of course. But yes, I do not. So this is like the first video that might be going out on our YouTube channel for the public. Many of you are following our work on social media. You're aware about this. But for people who are following us on YouTube or not on Facebook, this is like a first go-to statement by me officially that we respect Dr. Doreen Virtue, but we do not adhere to her, and nor do we intend to. We respect all of the pathways. As much as we each have our free individuality, a freedom to follow a certain spiritual pathway, we do not have the right to kind of quote-unquote growth criticize other pathways. That's just not right, not appropriate. You might say that it's required or whatever, but that's not going to there. So I just wanted to have a statement out before we continue the recording. So class number 5, we were supposed to have the Archangel Azrael, the angel of death, the one angel who surrounds those who are transitioning. But I was guided to include another topic into this course of the angel basics. So right now what we're doing, I think we're going to have 21, or who knows, maybe 40 of these basic classes covered over the years. I have to cover them a lot, maybe this year a lot. So one has to finish these 21 classes. Okay, so we have officially recorded only 4 classes yet. We haven't recorded the 5th one, so this is the 5th one. So the planning is 21, but if something shifts, it might be 40 or 44. Because personally, I have a very high standard of for students who are going to go into things like channeling, into things like receiving messages for others. If one's conscious is not clear, you might do a certification course over a weekend, especially for channeling healing energies or even messages that does not serve. Those people who come out successful from them usually are the ones who have been practicing, cultivating their spiritual pathway in their own way for many years. It's really not a weekend thing. It just cannot be done. So this was the reason I said, okay, we're not offering her work. Let us offer it in our own style, because the angels can never be copyrighted. They have been talked about in each religion. I think we have discussed about this in class number 1. There are YouTube videos available of our classes. You can go to our YouTube channel and look for it. Right. So today's topic is angel numbers. What are angel numbers? We keep seeing numbers often. A lot of people tell to me that they're seeing the number 11. Interesting thing is, when they discuss about it, I also start seeing it. You might say that because you're becoming more focused about it, you're seeing it, but there are very crazy rare incidences that does happen. So angel numbers is one of the quote-unquote signs. This topic of angel numerology and another topic of angel signatures or angel signs, these are very two different branches of angel study, really. Okay. Excuse me. So these are very two different branches. But I'm trying my best to, kind of give you introduction in these 1.5 hour sessions to kind of introduce you to the basics. Okay. Angel signs could be feathers and coins and the very letter angel. But angel numbers are basically, as the name suggests, just numbers. It could be from all the way from 0 to all the way to 9, and a combination of them. A lot of numerologists connect the numbers with the planets, with the 9 planets and more. Each number has a specific vibration. Anyway, before we start, let's just do some short clearing. It's really heavy here, especially with the last minute crashing and landings. Okay, let's close our eyes. We call upon Archangel Michael and the Band of Mercy to vacuum all fear-based energies from our bodies, from the space, from the skull. We request Michael and the Band of Mercy to sever any fear-based cords connected to people, situations, places, objects, memories, situations, places. Take deep breaths. We request Archangel Michael and the Band of Mercy to surround each one of us with his loving golden purple light as a shield, and to prepare the space for the angel class. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, now we're quite prepared. Do you see the difference in energies? So, angel numbers are, you can say it's a branch of numerology, but with the tint, with the hint, the dye, DYE of the angelic energy. Often people ask us, if we call upon the angels of light, would the fallen angels come into our field? Well, when you're working with very high vibrations regularly, and if not daily, like Archangel Michael, Archangel Jophiel, or Jesus Christ, or Lord Shiva, or Parabrahma, or Allah, whatever name that you call it, higher power, when you're working with that particular frequency a whole lot, and your intention is to align with that, these kind of so-called fallen angels won't be around you. They literally won't dare to be around you. And even if they do, with your regular spiritual practice of vacuuming, cord cutting, invoking the angelic realm, the archangelic beings of light into your field, this would be very, very profound. Okay? So, angel numbers is a branch of numerology with the hint of the angelic energy. Each number has a specific vibration. Each number is important. For example, there is only one God, right? By the union of the two forces, the third comes in. By the union of the man and the woman, a child comes in. That's the third force, right? You can try to meditate on that on different levels. So each number, each object in creation has a specific number, and there's a reason for it. You know, we have been listening to the radios for quite a while. There's a specific frequency, right? When there are very sensitive instruments now discovered about how your body vibrates when you're in a state of sickness or happiness or depression. It's almost like literally quantifying when you say, oh, I'm feeling down, oh, I'm feeling high, something like that. So each number is a very specific coding. It's a very specific property. Just to give an example, when I used to play computer games, I still have those CDs. I fancy about playing it, but I don't know what. I'm not attracted to it anymore. I think it's just the age, maybe. But I can tell you, I still play games on my Android sometimes, and I still have a particular CD of a game right in front of me as I'm talking with you right now, fancying that I will open it someday. So I think a lot of millennials would resonate to that. So, when I used to play computer games a few years back, they would give us cheat codes, I mean, one of them was going into the not coding exactly, the very instructional, what's the exact word for that? Let's say instruction programming of the game. You would open a certain document. It would be like a text-based document, and this text-based document will have the properties of particular things. For example, I loved strategy games and, creating those cities and having a house and providing the needs of the house, and the house will evolve and gradually it will be able to accommodate more and more people and more citizens in my city. And then you can, diversify these citizens into warriors and craftsmen and philosophers and healers and doctors and priests, that kind of interesting stuff. I'm still excited by talking about it. So, let's say a house would have a capacity of 4 people. Okay, that's the coding of it. So you could go into that particular document and you could make this 4 into 40. And that house will now be able to accommodate 40 people. Do you know? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So the entire universe that you see is holographic in nature. It's really not real. I mean, it's not the ultimate. It's not the permanent. When you meditate, or let's say, if you ever attended a hypnosis session, a hypnosis journey, or led through hypnosis session with a good hypnotherapist, you will notice that if the hypnotist wants you to experience heat when you are surrounded by cold weather, your body starts heating, and vice versa. In hypnosis, if someone takes you into hypnosis, maybe a 3 or 5 minutes hypnosis, and wants you to visualize a lemon and cut that lemon and enjoy and taste that lemon, you would be tasting it. That is the power of the mind. The mind is a causative agent of consciousness. Please understand. Everything is consciousness. You call it matter, you call it spirit, you call it higher worlds, you call it lower worlds. The mind is a causative agent. In other words, the mind is the one that is responsible for the collapse of the reality. If you have studied a bit of quantum physics, you would understand why I'm using the word collapse, because what you're seeing around is not actually a reality. It's possibilities. So what you're seeing right now, like your cell phone or a computer, a laptop right now in front of you, it's one of those possibilities that actually happened, that actually collapsed into reality because of your observation and a certain phenomena or a certain play of the universal forces. And that included the internet, that included the digital stuff, that included light, that included so much more, right? So the entire universe is designed in a specific way. There's a hologram to it, It's not just my words. It's the words of the most advanced physicists who are working in the field of quantum physics. And they're saying that the universe is not real. It's holographic in nature. That's what the great yogis and great fakirs and great saints have been talking about. Do not invest your time too much into this world, into trying to get the temporary things out of this world. Be like a guest, Be like a guest, live in the world like a guest, a good guest of God, so to speak. Okay. There's a very beautiful story of a saint. He would be traveling around the world, places. And one of his, what do you say? Devotee is not the right word. Friend is also not the right word. A person who respected him a lot came to him and said, "Oh, you carry so less with you, just a mat, just a shawl and just a utensil maybe. You carry so less, and you're able to travel freely. Why do you carry so less? Even when you have to stay at a place for maybe several months, you can make it a temporary home, something like that." And the fakir said, "Well, I stay here like a guest. And so is everyone. We forget that we're guests here, and we try to accumulate and hoard and play the power games, Anyway, so the entire universe is designed in a very specific way, specific frequency. The science that is coming up next is the world of frequency. There are devices out there which are literally working on your frequencies and can trigger healing changes, not only physically, but also psychologically. Radionics was one of them. They're still advancing it. And there are many, I'm forgetting the name of this particular machine that they would be using very successfully. It is somewhat connected to radionics, I believe. That would, put a particular rate or a particular vibration on a specific condition, and the patient would get healed. And if the rate or the vibration would not be matched, the patient will not get benefit out of it, regardless of the patient sitting in front or sitting miles and miles and miles afar. So numbers have a specific frequency. Numbers have a specific purpose. You can literally talk to the numbers in a meditation and ask, "What do you mean?" Really, it's that simple. You can read 1,000 numerology books, and I'm very much sure you'll be confused about it as to what exactly it means. It's very, very tricky. The best way to understand numerology or astrology, if you're trying to master, and even tarot and angel card, all of that, is to really refine your intuition. The numbers, the cards, the crystals, and, what you call, the runes, they are very nice to play with, but they are really like an act of lower clairvoyance. Lower not in a bad way, but lower in a way that is, you're depending on something outside. If you ever get to meet to a very refined a refined channeler, a very evolved yogi or fakir, you will notice that they're not using anything much from the outside. They might look into the sun, they might look into the sky, they might look into the wall, something like that, or as if they're staring into infinity, and then they would talk about their so-called prophecies. The gift of prophecy is not a what's the word for that? It's not a privilege given only to the particular evolved souls. It is given to each one of us. Point is, if we understand, if we have the proper intention to develop that for the service of humankind and God all that is. So that's where the numbers come in. When we talk about angel numbers, it is the numerology understood from the lens of the angelics. Okay? So 1, we have God all that is. 2, we have the yin and yang forces. 3, we have the product of the yin and yang forces. Right? So that's where the 1, 2, and 3, even 0 comes in. It's like nothingness. So 1, you can say, defines the form aspect of God. 2 defines the duality aspect of God. 3 defines the plain duality of the aspect of God, something like that. And 4 represents the angelic number. If you are someone who is regularly seeing a lot of 4s, or if you have called upon the angelic for help, one of their signs, apart from giving you coins in certain places or feathers, one of the things that they will give to you is the number 4. Even 444. You might be looking into your phone, it will be just 44. You could be looking at a watch, 444. You could be, driving, and suddenly you have to see the milestone. There would be number 4. I mean, I know that sounds really crazy and kind of fancy, and like, oh, I'm not so sure if it will happen with me. But if you keep an open mind, a discerning mind, an open mind, not a gullible mind, and you ask the angels for a sign, one of the things for talking about signs with the angels is not to give them specific instructions as to how to give the sign. They know very creative ways, trust me. I think the next basic class would be angel signs. So, because that's coming a lot, it's like naturally building up over here. So a lot of times people ask me, I'm seeing this number. There are very wonderful articles out there by different people, different channelers. You can read that, and people have written books about, I think, angel numbers. They have written so much about it. So we will go roughly as to what these numbers mean. Okay, so this is just a quick talk. As I said, even this topic of angel numbers is a complete different branch of angel study. Okay, so I'm just trying my best to give you a concise picture of the information. So let's take a deep breath. 1, manifestation. 2, being on the right track. 3, presence of the divine feminine frequency, presence of the masters of light. 4, presence of the angels. 5, shifts. 6, connected to worries of the material plane, of your material needs. 7, it is somewhat like the number 2, like you are in the right track, but it also has alchemy. It also has like doorways are opening. 8 represents abundance. 9 represents life purpose. And 0 represents God, all that is. And of course, 11 or 10 is a combination of the two. So you just have to use intuition and download it. For example, I'm having a random 100 rupee note right in front of me. So I'm going to channel a message for all of us. Of course, the number 100 is all about opportunity and fortune. So 100 automatically means that we are going to receive great fortune. But I'm also seeing a lot of purple here. So it may not mean physical, material, money bank wise, but it may mean spiritual wise. Okay, so what's the number for this note? So the number is, wow, that's a nice number. It's 5GN, G as G is God, N is none. 5GN 491188. So you might say, well, Narmada, you talked about just 0 to 9. Now I have this long number. What do I do with it? Well, I'm just going to tell you very, very organically here live. So 5GN. GN was not a part. I'm also seeing the number M here written on the note. So 5GN. 5 means shift. GN means what? Usually good night. So 5GN, you could say that this means a lot of shifts are happening in your life. Some shifts are always unprepared usually, but sometimes we are prepared. But some shifts could be too much that we may seem that we are not prepared. It could be a positive change, a new job, a new relationship, or it could be a not so positive change. Okay. So 5GN means if you're wondering about all of these sudden changes happening around within you and maybe having even anxiety attacks because of that, before sleep, before your good night, before sleep, offer all of these shifts, all of these worries to God and trust that God is doing the best for you. Okay. The next is 491188. So 4 here means, of course, the angels are watching over it. 9 means life purpose, so it would mean angels are watching over your life purpose. 1188 means put your thoughts into conscious visualization, into conscious vision of what you want. It is no longer a time to remain confused. It is no longer a time to remain confused. It is a time to use your manifestation abilities as to what you exactly want. It's always great to, whenever you're offering prayers to God, as I said in previous classes, when you pray to God, God sends his angels. When you even just ask the angels, that works very well as well. So when you have 1188, so it means that keep your focus on the positive, like a gratitude. In India, especially in North Indian parts, they say offer shukrana, offer thanks, offer gratitude to God for everything so-called positive and so-called negative. But be very clear. Be very, very clear. It's almost like going for a job or signing up for a possible relationship. You are aware it's a yes or a no. There's no in between. Really, you are simply aware with them. What kind of job you're going to have, what kind of person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, something like that. 88 here means abundance. So you can manifest abundance as you follow your life purpose, knowing that the life purpose is guided by the angels. You are going to manifest abundance and prosperity. Just make sure that your thoughts are very much in alignment with what you do want. For example, people often come to me and say, I'm having financial crunches, what do I do? And then I ask them to donate. And what they end up doing is they don't donate generously. But they may be wanting to spend a lot in other things. It could be clothes, it could be food, it could be travel, it could be accessories, anything. I'm not saying that you don't deserve to do that. I'm just saying that when you are donating, your subconscious, your brain, yourself, it thinks that you have more than enough, that you are even scooping out, that you're donating. So when you're sending out that frequency, you are sending out the frequency of generosity, right? In the same manner, when you're not donating and just spending on yourself for whatever needs you have and may not have, but it's still spending a lot on yourself, but not donating generously, you're sending out to the universe that this is what I need and I'm spending it on myself, but I don't think that I have abundance, but I'm still donating it. Are you getting that? So that's kind of opening doorway of abundance to you, but like not in a very fast way, so to speak. Usually religions and world cultures will talk about donating 10% of your income. Even if you cannot do 10%, at least try to give 5%. I personally know a lot of very rich healers and teachers and even people not into healing and New Age fields that they literally don't count how much they are donating, and things just flow to them. They literally, you can feel that royalty in their aura when they raise funds for charity or when they donate. When you're around them, you will feel the pulsing possibility of that golden energy. The energy is really like being around the aura of a great king, a great queen, with a lot of integration and a lot of rooting with the spiritual and the heavens at the same time. It's not materialistic, but it's very successful. It's very, very like a field of possibilities. You feel empowered. Maybe for temporary while when you're around them, but you do. So your wishes must be in accordance with your affirmations, or your affirmations have to be in accordance with your wishes, so to speak. But your actions, as Dr. Joshua David Stone would say, your actions are also affirmations. These are subconscious affirmations. So you might think that you have done your happy 10-day affirmation in the morning. You're feeling so happy about all these things, and then suddenly you find going zoop down. And you're wondering affirmations do not work. But, when you're working out in the morning, doing the affirmation is all fine. But when you go out and put that kind of food into your body, which you know is not good for your body, but simply because your tongue wants it or your brain wants it to feel scintillated or excited, you're not treating yourself properly. You're getting the point. I'm not asking you to be pure. I'm definitely not a very pure person. In fact, I love to, eat all kind of stuff to socialize. As one of the mentors would say, she doesn't like to keep her body very pure. I think she follows like a 80-20 principle. 80% is salads and veggies and stuff like that, steamed stuff, and 20% is something like of a regular kind. So I'm not of a very 80-20 person. I am a 100% person, you can say. But when I fast, I fast. It's just that I'm very much connected to the rhythm of my body. I just have a very strong connection to my body. That was not before. It was built up after a lot of practice. That people see me aging very fast. People see me youthening very fast. People who know me personally, or people see me sick for some reason dramatically, and then also seeing me healing dramatically as well. So it looks dramatic, but it's not. It's just that when you have accustomed, trained your body that it is the slave to the mind, or the mind is the master of the body, and where you have understood that the mind is also the slave to the soul, to you, to the consciousness, things happen very rapidly. I'm very much sure a lot of you have experienced that, like the weight going zoom in and zoom out, right? So that's about it. So in that 10 minutes of the talk that I talked about, how different numbers, what does each number represent from the perspective of the angelics, that is more than enough as an intro. Let's go into transmission. And this transmission will further open us up into this, you can say, entrainment, or what's the word? Patterning of the brain to be able to discern numbers. After this transmission, you will notice that. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get settled. Okay. It's recommended that you listen to this transmission with a sitting posture. We bring our awareness to the breath. Visualize the beautiful ball of white light surrounding you. Each time when you visualize ball of white light, you are literally connecting with the angelic realm. Each single time. So although these days they say that the white bubble of light is not enough, but when you understand that this is angelic white light, it gathers potency. People often talk to me about, getting a permanent thing for energy contamination and shielding. Well, guess what? There's no permanent stuff like that. Until and unless you're someone like Christ or Buddha. It's just that when you interact and you have to clear certain things. It's just the way. These days when I go out in public, I'm noticing that my body literally becomes sick. If, even people who are long-term meditators, they touch it. It's not to talk about anything of a superior nature, inferior nature. It's just how the vibration works. As you evolve, your aura becomes more powerful, expanded, but more refined. So what happens next is when people touch you, especially with respect, with love, energy goes from denser to rarer medium. That's the law. And because you have a more refined field, you tap into their things. Unconsciously. Literally, your touch is able to heal them or relieve them, but at the end of the day, you get affected. This is the reason you will see many great teachers, even avatars, is not allowed the touching of their bodies, except for very, 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 very few occasions or very few people. Breaths. Bring your awareness to your navel. Just drop all of your awareness to your navel. Ground yourself with the body.